But yeah, I found myself really, I mean, usually even on a first read of a whole collection as you're reading, you really start to understand what the themes are. And I feel like I was in some ways really relying on reviewers to tell me what those themes were, and in some ways they could not.
Yeah, and that's something too. Sophie sent me a couple of these reviews. I could barely get through any of them, and it was just like the same thing. And this is what academic, we've talked about this a lot. This is a reoccurring theme on this podcast, right? Is like the poetry, poetry's place, right? Like poetry's kind of, what's it for the audiences, even not even talking like it's a popularity or anything. We've done a couple episodes, listeners. You can go back and catch all of those at patreon.com/heavyboard. But yeah, I think that's a big kind of academics are the only ones that kind of review poetry. It's academics, and then it's basically amateurs like Instagram poets, right? That's who reviews poetry, right?
Bloggers.
Yeah, which I would call amateurs. Yeah, Instagram poets. And it's like that's who reviews poetry. And the reason I often say hyperbolic things on this podcast, like poetry is dead or something, is because when you read reviews like that, like there's just the rule right now that you cannot write a negative review of a book. It has to be only praise, no matter how well you like, no matter how you contort it into something, you just have to praise it. So like every review I've read of this, again, like Sophie said, is kind of praising something that I think isn't even in there. Um, and just, I mean, your listeners, you can decide for yourselves. You read this book, right? But yeah, that's going to be coming back up as we make our way through here.